Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, this is Mr. Roy, and I'm going to be your science teacher for the next 20-30 minutes. Today we're going to be talking about electricity, and it's a concept we are very familiar with. Electricity is like a helping energy to us. It helps us wash our clothes in the washing machine. It entertains us on TV, ensures that we can press our clothes with the pressing iron, refrigerates or cools our stuffs in the refrigerator. You see, electricity is so important to our everyday life, and its importance is revealed when there is no power. You will notice that when there is no power, there is dullness in the environment because your helping energy has been taken away from you. But today we are not just going to look at it from a layman perspective. We're going to be talking about the science of electricity. I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourself. Now, there are 5 things we're going to be looking at today. 1 is the atom, 2 electrons, 3 current, 4 voltage, and 5 resistance. For you to understand the science of electricity properly, these 5 concepts are concepts you have to fully understand for you to understand the science behind electricity. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is atom. What is an atom? Atom is the smallest indivisible particle of anything. That means everything has atoms in them. But we're going to dig deeper into the structure of an atom. Now, an atom has a nucleus, a nucleus, and there are several orbits around it. Though it depends on the kind of atom you're talking about, but there will be a nucleus and orbits depending on the kind of atom you're talking about. Now, around the orbits or along the orbit, you have electrons. Alright? Inside the nucleus of an atom, you have the proton. And still inside the nucleus of an atom, you have the neutron. Okay? So we've looked at 3 things inside of an atom. 1 is the electrons which are negatively charged, the protons which are positively charged embedded within the nucleus of the atom, and the neutron which are neutral, no charge, embedded in the nucleus of an atom as well. But today we are going to be focusing on just 1 out of the 3, and that is the electrons. So, electrons are parts of atoms, and they are negatively charged. Electrons are part of atoms, and they are negatively charged. That's all we should know about atom for now. I'm sure you're following. Then we're going to now talk about currents. We're going to be talking about currents right now. Now, what is current? Current is electrons in motion. Electrons in motion. That is what current is. Any electron you see that is in motion, you call that a current. Any electron that is in motion is called a current. So a current is electrons in motion. Now, these electrons are the same electrons you have in an atom, of course. So anything that can ensure that these electrons are moving, you have current. These electrons, once they begin to move, you have current. Once they stop moving, no current. So when electrons begin to move, they produce current. Okay? Now, A simple illustration. Let's assume this camera cover is an electron, okay? Now, this is an electron here and is not in motion. You would say there is no current. But once there is a force that can begin to push or pull the electron and it begins to move, that electron forms a current. So, simply put, current is electrons in motion. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is voltage. The next thing we're going to look at is voltage. Voltage. Now, what is voltage? There is nothing you see that moves that is not being made to move. So if we say that current is electrons in motion, so what is making the electrons move? What is pushing the electron? What is pulling the electron? What is making the electrons move? That is voltage. So voltage is that force that pulls and push electrons. Okay? So that is what voltage is. That is what voltage is. Voltage is that force that pulls and pushes electrons. Is that force that pulls and pushes electrons. So that's what voltage is. I'm sure you're following. Very easy. Now the last concept we're going to talk about is resistance. Now we have our electron here. Then my finger is the voltage. And I'm ensuring the electron is moving. Okay? Now as the electron is moving, naturally it's going to experience a resistance. It's going to experience a pushback. It's going to experience a pushback. Because in reality, the electrons will move within a conductor, within a material. So let's assume that the electron is moving within this material. Let me quickly do a quick sketch. This is the material within which the electrons will be moving. Now, the materials, or any material for that matter, is made of particles. Particles, anything, even human beings are made of particles. Okay? Made of particles are made of particles. So, now, if this is the electron and this is the voltage, I'm now pushing the electron within the material. The electron will begin to experience pushback because it means you're going to meander your way through all these particles. Now these particles will culminate, will combine to push back on the forward movement of this electron, and that's what you call resistance. So what is resistance? Resistance is simply pushback on electrons. So electrons wants to move within a material, the particles of the material pushes the electrons back. That is what resistance is about. So what is resistance? Resistance is a force that opposes the free flow of current. Okay? Resistance is a force that opposes the free flow of current. We're done. We're done. So as a recap, we've talked about atoms. Atoms are the smallest indivisible particle of an element. Within an atom, you have the electron, you have the proton, and you have the neutron. We just focused on the electrons. Now we agreed and we established that when electrons move, they form currents. What can make electrons move? Voltage. Now, once you ensure that electrons can move within a material, within a conductor, well, any material for that matter, the particles of that material will tend to push the electrons back. Alright? And that is what resistance is about. We've laid the foundation for this topic, electricity, and this is part 1. We're going to be doing part 2, part 3, and part 4. I'm sure you've learned 1 or 2 things. We're going to be having some tests after this video class. I'm sure you should be able to answer them. Just a couple of questions. I'm sure you'll be able to answer them. All the best.
My brother, my sister, papa, mama, and pikin. Corona, no big pass us. We go fight time, we go win. As long as we remember to always do the right thing. Wash your hands, love each other, we go win. Oh. Corona, na the virus, we dey worry human being. E no get Lego, but e dey waka from person to person. But we fit beat time, we fit stop time, if we maintain good hygiene and practice social distancing. We go win. Oh. No shaking hands with your neighbor. Blow them a kiss from afar. Use soap and water to wage war. Let's show this thing who we are. We are special, we're courageous, we are awesome human beings. We dey super, we get power, we can conquer anything. If we hear word and obey laws and exercise discipline. Wash your hands, love each other, we go win. Oh.